Welcome to What It Knows, a show that explores the art of sneaker culture. I'm your host, Adam Butler, back with another episode. Thank you so kindly for being here. Okay, guys, you probably can hear it in my voice. I have a terrible sinus infection, so I can't talk for long, but you're in luck because I recorded this episode last week. My man, Muhammad Moschino Hill for the museum is in the building. He's here to talk about the store. He's here to talk about his collaboration with Curry Brand and Under Armour. Man, I'm not going to waste no time. And I'm definitely not going to waste his voice. Let's jump right into it. What's going on, sir?
How you doing today, man? Appreciate you for having me.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. You know, I'm a DC guy. I actually live right around the corner from y'all shop, man. And I love when I get an opportunity to have folks from here on the show. And you guys are doing your thing. You know, you guys, everybody in DC know about the museum, and we're going to talk about it. But y'all have stepped on the international stage for real with this Curry. We're going to get into that in a second. But first, just talk to me about the museum, how it started, how you guys got into the business, and what it is.
Well, it started actually I had moved to Atlanta helping out another store which was called OMFnetwork. And we were selling other people's clothes at that joint, right? Mm-hmm. So opened that joint, did all the marketing, the brand and all that for that. But then I came home one time and was just looking for somewhere to shop. I was like, wasn't a lot going on, so I came back home and my partner G and my man Mo and Trey and all them, they were still at home. Mm-hmm. So they were, we was talking. It was like, man, it's crazy. It's no store back home like Madness and All Days and stuff like that you felt like it was like, the urban apparel that had been going on for 30 years. So yeah, we was like, man, what if we create something that's like a little newer, with a twist in it and still give you that home feel. So we was sitting around thinking, I'm just like, well, what could we come up with that's a creative place, like, and not do the traditional, urban boutique, where it kind of looked like, mom and pop kind of thing. So then we came out. I was like, well, the museum. I was like, we should name it the museum, man, because at the end of the day, the clothes is the artwork. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then so how can we display that? So we was thinking about names too. If you know about the past in DC history, you had names like Shooter Sport and All Days and Madness and different places like that. We was thinking, how could we create a name that wasn't, you couldn't literally say, hey, that's an urban apparel brand, Mm-hmm. And you couldn't say, oh, it's owned by some black people, it's owned by Caucasians, or it's owned by Latinos. You know what I mean? It's just a brand name. So we like, and when you think about the museum, you think about, clean, you think about artsy, you think about creativity. You know what I mean? So we thought about that and we put that all together. And then, the rest is history, and then we had to take it upon ourselves to say, so how do we do this different, And we said, well, first we're going to start out by focusing like on community, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we started out with the community base first, just bringing people in, having these all type of events, where people felt like it was a home base, you could come and, it almost felt like know your name, like, like Cheers, you know what I mean? Like walking in the bar. So, we did that first. And then, like when we originally started out, we had other brands. We had like Stussy, Commodation, 10 Deep, a lot of Epitome, a lot of other brands. And then we dropped a snapback one time, right? A snapback and a t-shirt, with standard logo. Yep. And man, I remember walking in the back about 3 hours into the event, and I was like, yo, I need a 1X and a medium and our shirt and two snapbacks. And they was like, boy, we been sold out of that 40 minutes. I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, our stuff sold out the fastest. So then everybody was like, yeah. So then from there, I was like, oh, nah, we ain't gonna be selling nobody else stuff. Yeah. We leave that out. And then, it's been on ever since. It's been some struggles too, but all in all, we here because of, relentless, like just push and just, knowing that, things was gonna work out. Cause sometimes it was definitely with some dark points, but definitely we figured it out like we've done with most of the other things prior to, dealing with a store.
For sure, man. I remember going in there when the store opened early on and y'all started selling the merch and buying the hat, the
Yeah,
museum hat, the all black with the white lettering, you know what I
yep,
mean? Um,
classic. Yep.
yeah, man. I remember going to the Adidas event you guys had there back in like 2018, I think 2017. I can't remember this Adidas event. Matter of fact, some of that footage made
Mhm.
it into my movie, so I'm thankful for that. You know, you
Yeah,
guys are
yeah,
staples in the community, and you brought up something that I think is really cool. And you guys have actually reached back and kind of had relationships with some of the originators, man. You bring up Shooters and
right.
Madness and some of the older brands, and the people that's outside of DC. We talking about clothing brands in DC that in the 90s and 2000s were, if you were walking around the city, that's all we wore. We wore other brands,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but we had a uniform. You knew a DC or a DMV dude or woman across the globe by
I
what
was,
we were
yeah,
wearing.
yeah.
How does it feel to
Mm-hmm.
step in those footsteps, man? Because you guys, you eat and other brands like that. You guys are the next wave of that. How does it feel to be part of that legacy?
It's amazing, especially when you came up on that, and
Mhm,
you knew pretty much kind of where somebody either lived or they grew
mhm,
up in or where they hung out at based off of the brand that they was wearing. If
mhm.
you had a shooter sport, you knew you was kind of like over that southeast area by like Eastern Market, Potomac Gardens, and all that.
Yep.
If you wore scrapers out Maryland, and you knew you was
Mhm,
around that Capitol Heights, Addison
mhm.
Road area around there. You wore City Life, you was over on Minnesota Avenue. If you wore Madness, you was uptown. You
Mhm.
wore All Days, you was on Bennett Road. If you wore We Are One, you was around that Quarters area and all that. So
Yep.
it's a wonderful thing. I always took it upon myself to say, and my partners, too, to say like, how can we expand past that? Because
Mm.
it got to a point where like, our urban apparel out of DC had hit a cap. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Not just DC DMV, because you had Makunu, who
Mhm.
had like opportunity too to like brand outside of the local areas and stuff like that. But I'm like, so many people have poured into those brands over the years, like the community and the city, and I felt like we got short-handed,
Mm.
DMV area and some of the urban brands. So I took it upon myself to say, well, how can I, carry that legacy on and take it to another level, because we have a lot of sense of style and creativity in the
Yeah.
DMV area also.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's been the coolest thing about being from the DMV. And a lot of people come to Kanye West was one of the ones that really shouted
Yeah,
out
I
the
just
DMV
seen that
about our
too. Yeah.
about our style. But you're right. A lot of those folks got shorthanded because it became like, oh, well, that's a DC thing. You know what I mean? We don't
Right.
do that in New York, whatever. But it's different now, man. Like, especially with you guys. We
Mhm.
talk about the Letterman jackets, man. We seen Draymond Green, all sorts of athletes walking around with that Letterman. That Letterman is tough to get, bruh.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing about the Letterman is that like people could never have seen the brand ever, know anything about the brand, but they see that piece
Mhm.
and they willing to give it a try. That's how you know you made a good design. When it
Yeah,
don't matter where you at across the country, whatever, you see that jacket and it's a piece. Like it's like, hey, what is that? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like they willing,
yeah,
no matter black, white, whatever. Like everybody gives that one, especially at Letterman, they give that an opportunity. Like we sold so many of those, it's crazy, and we're on our
yeah.
third edition that we've dropped price several times. So it's like, yeah,
The Letterman is fire. Is I I was laughing with my wife because I was like, yeah, I've been trying to get that museum Letterman for a minute because it's like the joint drop online and then it's gone. And it's like on one hand, I'm like, damn, I want it. But the other hand, I'm like, yo, I'm so proud of those dudes because I know the work you all put in. And I love it just from, the strength that I know one of the owners, but also off the strength of like just being a dude from this area and seeing NBA players walking down the tunnel with your stuff on, you know what I mean? And seeing that it's becoming international. And that's something, as you mentioned before, we want for the city. The city is for respect in
yeah,
all genres, media, music,
everything,
fashion,
all the way across.
anything.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And you guys are really taking that step to get it there, man. And that naturally takes me to the Curry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys have designed a curry for, man, and then you're on your second design of it. I think you've done two curries at this point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it's funny because I just kind of give some background on it.
Mm-hmm.
I had worked closely. Me and G was doing some consulting for Under Armour. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually designed about 8 player exclusives for real. You know what I mean?
Word.
For Under Armour. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily for Curry, but for Under
Mm-hmm.
Armour. And a lot of them came out. And, I
Yeah.
mean, you play the background with that because it's whatever. But this one, it's different. And
Yeah.
they it's crazy because I don't think people understand how big of a thing this actually is. First off, Curry has never done a collaboration.
Yeah.
This is his first of its kind.
Yeah.
Two, it's not the conventional one. You know,
Hmm.
a lot of time, like we're not some store in New York or LA or Chicago
Right.
where they got these big platforms and a lot of them get the perks of that because of where they are, you
Right.
know. Then two, we've crossed a lot of borders that usually like most people haven't, you know. We put our neighborhoods on the
Mhm. Yes, you
sneaker.
did.
You
Yeah.
know, it was all about us, and it wasn't like I want to be politically correct kind of thing. You know, it was like y'all do y'all, and they
Mm.
allowed us to do that, and I'm forever grateful for that. They ain't just give us one; they give us three total. So it's
Yes.
like, you know, it's borderline unheard of, you know, and it's like, you know, and then, you know, even with like, you know, Steph, he ended up wearing, you know, a lot of museum apparel outside of the sneaker.
Hmm.
And they didn't ask him to do that. Like, you know, we shipped him some stuff like, oh, you know, if he like the brand, he like it, he don't, he don't. We appreciate the opportunity anyway.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he was coming with it back to back to back, everybody was like, yo, he's putting it on like every day. Like, and then he just started sending it stuff like, yo, tell him send me another box or send me another box. Like, so it's like, you know, I mean, it's really, really big, especially for a local brand, man. Like I don't even think people understand how major it is. And like, you know, everybody should be rooting because, you know, we just broke down a door that's been closed for 50 years, man. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
some of the, to be honest, not even being funny, but like none of the urban brands here ever really had like official like collaborations. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And all these years of us existing since 78 with Madness and, you know, being the first, like,
Hmm.
bro, that's a long time. Like
Yeah.
to get that type of recognition or and my thing is, you know, a lot of these brands have made so much money off of our culture here in the DMV area. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? We made a lot of brands a lot of money.
Yeah.
And for them never to give us that opportunity is, you know, it's disappointing. But hopefully, you know, we can continue to push and be able to open the door so, you know, everybody after us can get their collab, you know, the
Hmm.
Eats and the Ricardo Deshawn's and the Love More brands and the Spread All Loves and I mean everybody that's locally from here, you know, I hope that they all be able to get an opportunity and a shot at it because I mean it's been proven that it's enough money in the city for everybody.
That's the thing, bro. Like, I think, back in the day, it was a lot of competition with people. It was like, we got to be the one. And again, I bring up music, I bring up media, I bring up fashion. It was like, I got to be the first from the city. I gotta, and it was, it wasn't a collaborative thing in DC.
Yeah,
You heard a lot of people talk about that. I think that tide has shifted. And again, it's just super dope. And I want to tell you, we do understand, bro. I showed off that I was at Sneaker Fest at the I keep wanting to call it the Verizon Center, whatever the Wizard State
Capital One.
Capital One Arena, right? Shouts out to Ian. And I was showing off y'all sneaker, man. And I did a little TikTok about it, and people were just infatuated with it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
again, it pops. It's a great, and it brings me
yeah.
to, you say you've done sneaker design, talk to me about that. Like, when you go into designing a sneaker and trying to launch a brand with, and you've been working with Under Armour, like what goes
Right.
into it? What's the steps for you?
First off, not to be funny, but like it's a lot of people that's making it, right? What we
Mm,
would consider making it um with these collabs and they get these New Balance collabs and Jordan collabs
mm,
and the story don't hit home like that because it ain't
mm,
authentic. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? They was just some people's that, you know, either they had the money to buy the sneakers early on, you know, they don't have no story and it's no like grit to it, you know.
mm,
So for me, like that first shoe that we did, where you know the right shoe was G and everything
mm.
about G, and then left
Yep.
shoe was me and everything about me.
Mm,
I could have did it any other way. I could have just highlighted DC or just highlighted the museum, but now
mm.
I had to highlight the guys that work hard to get there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and where we came from and our journey, because it's almost like a dream deferred. That's kind of what I came up with when I thought about that. I thought about something personal that I could share that people would be able to grasp to and be like, damn, you know what, this shoe make me feel different. It ain't just
Mm,
about, oh, it got a lot of colors and I'm gonna look good in it, but
yeah.
it's a personal touch because, right, I'm gonna be honest. When I decided to design that shoe, I thought colors, yeah, a lot, but a
Mm,
lot of the things that was on the shoe is like I hold dear to me, from the lingo on the bottom of the shoe
mm,
to the shoestring colors to my neighborhood being on the inside of it, to, my nickname on social media, all those things, played a role on it. And I said to myself, like, who better to tell my story than me? You know what I'm saying? I grew up playing basketball my whole life.
Right.
I'm talking about my whole life, and I've gotten tons of doors, like not necessarily closed, but because of my height, certain doors weren't open, and I felt like I accomplished a lot. I made it to a school where they decided to give me a scholarship, and I played, maybe not at the highest level of Division 1, but I played, in college my first year, and so it's like for me to get a play exclusive and
Right.
G to get a play exclusive after playing on the Division 1 team like he did, a D2, excuse me, like he did, we got to play exclusive, and it wasn't because of basketball.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes your dreams that come true. Sometimes it's a fork, and it's not even a fork in the road, but it's a detour. And
Yeah.
sometimes that detour is a little longer going around, but it brought us right back to our roots, which is
Yeah.
basketball. And
Yeah.
we did a collab with the greatest shooter to walk the planet.
The
So
greatest.
kid, you feel me? Like, and
Yeah.
we ain't shot a basketball in the NBA basket. I
Yeah.
ain't thrown no football 80, 90 yards.
Hmm.
You know, I'm not in no decathlon. I
Right.
didn't write no Grammy nominated R&B song. I don't have
Right.
a rap mixtape. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
not walking on in New York Fashion Week or nothing like that.
Hmm.
Like, this is just something that we built, and it just feels so good to be recognized for something that that you built and not for nobody else. That's the
Hmm.
thing about, like, sometimes in music and stuff like that, you work in music, and if you're not the artist, then everybody kind of judge you or deal with you accordingly of how they feel about the person that you represent.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
man. That's
this our brand, so
yeah.
they dealing with us because of us,
Yeah.
not because of somebody else. So I'd rather take somebody making a decision and say, "Oh, I don't want to deal with the museum because of whatever, whatever." But I could take that because I know that that's how they feel personally about me and not somebody else.
Mm.
So this is a dream come true, bro, and not just to do one, but to be able to be three. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like all that rollout marketing and all that stuff, that's us. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody else. And there ain't no knock on, Under Armour or Curry brand in no type of way. But I'm just saying
Mm.
that those things that we did, like we sat down and we executed and we bought into, and we put people in the proper places, from the cameraman to my guy Reek. You know what I'm saying? We
Hmm.
did a lot of marketing and rollout up with that. But like, that's us, man. And like I said, it at times it's been discouraging because, like, we was in music first, and we was just
Hmm.
ahead of our time with a lot of stuff. And sometimes you battle with the dang people coming to do what I did 5 years ago, and they getting this crazy recognition. But
Mm.
it's a little too early. But guess what though? This one feel a lot way better than any other ones that I had. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
that's been a blessing.
The one that's for you is the one that's for you, bruh.
Man, it feels so great. I'm telling you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Listen, I'm gonna speak for the city right now, for the area, We proud of y'all, man.
I appreciate
Seriously.
that. Yeah.
Seriously, man. Proud of y'all, man. I know what I'm really happy to have a national platform to share this, man, because people need to know what y'all doing. We keep talking about local brand, local this, local that. And of course, I don't think that's a shame. Like, I don't think that's a title to be shamed of, but you all are universal. People, the world need to know what's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on with
yeah.
y'all. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
And I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, we had that mindset a long time ago, back in the 90s, late 90s and early 2000s, and even late, 2012 and all that. Like, the mindset of being the it thing at home. Like,
Mm,
I'm not trying to do that, man. I just feel
yeah,
like our culture needs to be celebrated outside of, you know, um, this area. So like
yeah,
that's why we push to kind of push it out there as much. And I've never paid no artist to wear out stuff, no
mm-hmm,
basketball player or none of that. All everything's been organic. I never paid
yeah,
for followers, no
yeah,
real advertisement, none of that. Like it's just been organic. So that's been a blessing for us too. And sometimes, man, when you take that route,
yeah,
it's just the time.
yeah,
Right now, we just reaping the benefits of nurturing relationships over the last 10 to 15 years.
mm-hmm,
This ain't nothing overnight. Like, it ain't because we made one great design, everything turned over for us or nothing like that.
yeah,
This is years of hard work.
right,
And you reaping the benefits of always, having a good face card and doing right by people. And people got in positions later on, from when I first met them. they got in positions and they was able to push us through. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty much what it is for real.
It's the team, man.
Man, you
It's the
better know.
team. You know what I'm saying? I know Reek. Reek get me to you. Turns out I know G. You know what I'm saying? And we all one family here in DC, and this is what we do.
Yeah.
And it's time for the world to see what we've been doing for 50 years now. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, that's why we all got to push through. It can't be just it got to be a collective effort, you know?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So listen, man, if folks want to cop those curries, what they got to do, man?
Man, got the line up Saturday morning. We open at 10. Most likely people will be out there around like 8 o'clock. Of course, we're gonna have donuts and orange juice like we always do for all our lines. Even when we had sneaker drops, we had them lines during COVID. So we're gonna do that. Like I said, they go up to a size 15. My sneaker starts at a 3.5. G sneaker starts at a 7 through 15. It comes with a package, so it's just not the shoe. You kind of get this poster, you get these sneaker laces, and it comes with one other thing, which is kind of like a surprise. But a G shoe will be around 200 and mine will be 175. But it's a lot of things come in the sneaker. Like it's not just a sneaker. That's the conventional way to do it. The museum is at 2014 Rhode Island Avenue, Northeast Washington, D.C. Like I said, it'll start at 10, and then hopefully we be sold out by 4, which will most likely be the case anyway. But that's it. And we got some other ones on the way. A little early to announce them, but we got some good ones. We got one that's really gonna make the city proud though.
I can't wait. I can't wait, man. And go ahead and check out their website as well, man. In case you do miss the sneaker drop, don't worry about it. They got plenty of dope stuff on the site. And speaking of them long lines, man, I don't know how many times I've been, because I live, the address is out there, but I live not that far from you guys, right? I be jogging over there and I see them lines on Saturdays and I be thinking, man, my God, bro. I be wanting to cut my jog and get in the middle of the line, but I don't want to offend people. You know what I mean?
Man. I'm telling you, they took a different type of person to survive through this pandemic. So I just want to take a moment out to shout out everybody that was able to still stand this storm. Because it really tests you as an entrepreneur too. To make the adjustments, with lack of resources and lack of financial backing. So like I wanted to shout everybody out, and we was able to blossom through it. So that show you a lot about perseverance,
No doubt, man. Y'all did it, man. Y'all did it. And y'all go ahead and run your victory lap on Saturday. It's going to be a beautiful day. And of course, if people are listening to this after Saturday, don't worry about it again. Go to their website. They got dope stuff on there, and there will be more drops because you guys are going to have more collaborations and all that, man. As I say, we proud of you here, man. I'm proud of you. It's good to meet you. You know what I mean? I've seen you before, but my first time actually meeting you. Keep doing your thing, brother. And I'd love to have you back on the show sometime soon to just talk sneakers or whatever y'all got going on.
Yeah. I can pull out that collection for you one time. I never showed it.
Let's do that.
It's crazy too. All right, well, I appreciate that, boss, and man, thank you to everybody, man. In the words of the museum, man, if nobody told you they love you today, the museum love you.
There it is. All right, big shout outs to you for tuning in. Big shout outs to my man Mo for joining me. Remember to mind your mental health. Remember to mind your physical health. And ladies and gentlemen, please continue to be great. I'm up out of here.